So once more, the journey is the goal. So our journey is our goal. And that's a well-known phrase which a lot of people maybe in Europe know from some car company. But in our content, in our connection, it's not the whole in one we want to we're trying to achieve or we want to realize. It's more to realize that the whole is one and or all is one, and that's more the desired consequent result of all our efforts. Our natural abilities are there and we have to let them in. So what's stopping us? We are stopping us from ourselves. From my point of view, what inhibits us, among other things, is the hyperstimulation in all the areas of our life and our constant noisy active mind. So be careful now, the psychologists and the trainers and the knowing better people, they will say, oh yes, we got to calm down your mind and we got to do this and that and you need to relax and you got to clear your mind. It's not. In fact, it's better to hear the noisy mind and go through the noise of active noise of dropping it. Anything you repress, especially a mind, noisy or not noisy, it will creep up in a very dangerous, even more noisy way from the back. You know, all these incidents on the golf course when people seem to have it really under control, or a soccer game is in minute 85, that's the moment when this mind creeps up and tells you that they are the boss. The mind is the boss. For me, the main things that prevent us living our life to our fullest potential is the constant noise and distractions and overstimulation in all aspects of our life. So it's more a question of not only on the golf course, but generally go into a more distance approach to yourself, becoming more of an observer. So whether the mind tells you good or bad things, you're kind of not identified with it. And that's not a process you do in a couple of sessions or hours, or hypnotherapy or hypnosis or whatever, NLP. No, it's a process which happens during your path, becoming an inner Zen golfer. And so once more, I can't say that meditation guarantees an improvement in your game of golf, but you are the one who will be able to watch or name it an improvement. But it might not be that you improve from 85 to 80 or 74 to 69 scores. It has a different showing of itself, a different creativity expressing itself. You might change your whole body posture. You might just enjoy the game more, and through the enjoyment and through the relaxation of your body, things might happen in one way or another. But you will never miss the moments of your journey, of your inner journey, of an inner golfer becoming less identified with the outer results and your outer desires. So once you drop the desires, you automatically become more relaxed, and your desires disappearing open the doors for that to appear and for that to happen, what your desires have been named. But sometimes it might even backfire and actually makes things worse. I want to be clear that I would not claim to say that meditation makes your game of golf better at all. It can be, but temporarily it can also have the exact opposite effect. In order to gain something new, in order to open doors for something new, you have to let go of the old. And that's not always the easiest things for us, because we are afraid of this transition time, of this time where that little bit, what we thought we own and that we're capable of, is not there anymore. And the new one hasn't arisen and isn't there either. So these moments are often scary, especially if you're a professional golfer. But I would say many of the professional golfers know better how to deal with it than some amateurs. If your ego is developed through a certain handicap or attached to how you present yourself on the golf course in relation to other members or friends somewhere, and all of a sudden this is disappearing under your feet, you might get very distracted and scared. But these are the moments of growth. These are the moments of changes happening, taking place. So rather, when I use meditation golf as a technique to become more alert, it makes me better as a person. Yes, rather. So when I use meditation golf as a technique to become more alert, it makes me better as a person, which in turn will synchronically have an immediate impact on the game itself. I often use meditation golf when I need to improve my mental well-being. So if I'm for some reason fallen into a hole and I do golf meditation, it certainly balances out my momentarily identification with the problem. So one enriches the other. It allows me to cleanse myself by focusing on improving my well-being, which in turn will then make me better at the game, at life, and golf. So thinking that meditation is a performance booster or enhancer, what many people want or coming or looking for, is a misunderstanding of what it's supposed to do and how it works. The goal of meditation is there to detach oneself from thoughts and to become present to the moment, which in turn guarantees success in any field of life, but obviously also in golf. So to think that meditation is now your key of what is supposed to do, what you got supposed to do, and how it will improve your golf score and your performance. This is the right and wrong step, because there is no wrong step. Even doing a wrong step throws you off one day into the right step, because anything will only grow and follow up after that right step has been taken. So the goal of meditation is to have no goal. Because just then, in the moment of isness, we say the Zen archer hits the target. Or let's say the arrow meets the target. Or the golf ball hits the flag. So if I move into the zone of meditation with the wrong premise, the first step was already, for some outer understanding, a step with the wrong approach. But it's not. Because no matter how we experience the first experience of meditation, for that too is a change of direction, and therefore only positive in any way. So if I enter a process of meditation without realizing what I'm really seeking from it, then the very first step might already be the right step or the wrong step. Life will show and experience will show. Even though we can always change direction and approach things differently, we won't know when that time will come. We cannot plan it as software or some people might promise you. And the meditation is not just moments of being in the flow. No. It can trigger these moments more often, and it will. But meditation should have the opposite effect of tight focus. Rather, it should be a way to clear your head, your mind, and experience a break from all that stress and anxiety and desires which are lingering and making you heavy and inflexible. Also, the meditation is not to be equated with moments of being in the flow, but it can trigger it more and more often. Meditation should have the opposite effect of a tight focus. Rather, it should be a way to clear the head and the experience, and to experience a break from everyday life stress. Often you should concentrate heavily on your breathing in these techniques. During a wide range of meditations we will learn and become acquainted with. And then other influences and distractions will take the back seat of our life in this moment. And hopefully in golf too. Not hopefully, it will. The effectiveness of meditation is still widely debated, although nowadays yoga has become a very popular thing amongst younger people, older people, which I don't always perceive as meditation, as yoga. It originally was to be, you know, it's more a part of I don't know, improve yourself, self-esteem, self-improvement, belonging to a crowd of doing alike, and so forth. But meditation seems to be really effective, with many people claiming that it has helped them in many ways. And however, some dispute whether meditation is appropriate for everyone and are concerned that the consequences could be also harmful. It is you to experience it, to know it. It's not those people who might, out of fear, put a certain label on things. I don't think that meditation has ever done anything harmful or wrong to people. But in fact, he has opened doors for changes. And these changes are processes where a lot of people don't like, because all of a sudden they don't know how to deal with you when you change. It's not what they expect you to be. And do you want to live to the expectations of others or to your inner potential? That's up to you. And that's probably the point whether you are going deeper with us in the Zen Golf and the inner skills techniques or not. If you try and live with your outer values to the expectations of the crowd and the people and the mind as such around, then it will be difficult for you to go through an immediate process of undoing, unlearning, letting go, in order to open doors for new breathe, new air, fresh air coming in. So we're mainly doing everything to bring the focus from the outside in and strengthen that watcher of oneself, becoming that watcher. It therefore also helps to develop a certain distance from immediate actions and reactions on the golf course, but of course also on the course of life, on the pitch of life over the time. So building an internal infrastructure or building up the internal immune system by engaging in meditation can lead us to a sense of peace and calm when dealing with challenges from life and sport. But let's get this right. A so-called from the outside looking calm person might be full of anger and negativity and fire inside, but showing the calmness on the outside. So that's not what we're talking about. A calm and loving person might be the most fiery person in the world because he's responsive, he is spontaneous, he's true. So by building this internal infrastructure, we continuously thrive through active meditation. Even when life gets difficult, we can build a sense of serenity and calm when confronted with the challenges of life, and by extension, of course, also by golf and sport in general. Even if not, every shot is great. There's usually a certain freedom and ease associated with not feeling painfully invested in something like that. As you're learning, you do not own or that you are not what you think you are or were not that in the first place. So as you are learning, you realize very often that you are not or were never that in the first place what you thought you were. So with this distance, it's much easier and much more joyful to go through the pitch or the course of life or the course of a golf course. Even if the shots you take are not on point, there's often a certain feeling of freedom and ease when you're shooting without worrying about your involvement in the project. Or despite all the investments you have done by practicing or money investment or trainings and professionals helping you and studying books and techniques. Studies have shown that practicing meditation strengthens the part of our brain responsible for focus and relaxation. So practicing the inner skills, as we call it, helps us focus then when we work on strengthening both parts of our brain, it will allow them for further sharpening each other. So they enrich the inner and the outer. So this is also great for lengthening the area of your brain, as they say, that triggers pleasure and joy. Now this is wording, but this is just a way to maybe one day realize what we have had to expect. One of the golf's biggest problems for top golfers or beginners, it doesn't matter, is that playing can become really very self-destructive or self-sabotaging. If you start badly, then you will feel too much pressure and stress. So if you start well, on the other hand, then you may question how long it will last. And that's the real breakthrough. Because golf almost never happens without a little or lot of self-sabotage. You start badly and stress about getting better comes alive. And you start well and you wonder how long it will last. I've heard of very bad golfing competitors asking you how you play so well, how do you do it? Maybe you've heard about this. It's a very, very naughty, ugly way to destruct the other, because this implements that he puts himself in this self-doubt and self-questioning. And in that moment, usually we lose the contact, the communication channel between the inner and the outer. You know, golfers who have success very often for a long time period afterwards can continue in the same esteem. And so do any soccer team or any sports team, skiers, any sports competitor. But when that doubt comes in and takes over, although physically you're capable of performing in the same way, it all goes down the drain. So this increased self-esteem and the loving feeling of coming up through meditation improves our ability to keep focus on what we are doing at that moment without judging it or putting a label on it. Living in the now, right now, here and now, is basically what we are thriving for. It's actually a lot easier to play the game of golf when you're not being distracted or plagued by emotions, thoughts, and narratives at the back of our minds. So the ultimate goal for all of us is to get out dry. So do whatever works for you best, whether that's a weekend away at the beach or staying in a wellness hotel, enjoying all that wellness facilities. Whatever matters is what helps us to achieve the goal over a longer period of time, not just a sudden change. And that's where all these techniques and books of self-improvement and fall short, because it might distract you from one point to another and it shows a change, but the mind is the mind. You can paint it blue, black, or this or that. It will always give you the same feedback. And it will not make you a different being. So we keep tripping over our own thoughts, and that too mostly over the same ones, mostly in related similar situations. So that we have to create a certain distance in our mind between what we think and what we do. So the goal of all of us is to get out of our heads and experience what we're all thriving for. Whether this is best guaranteed this way or that way. It doesn't matter.